From Chicago, number 24, Ephraim Winters. Michigan's forward, a 6'8" senior from Boston, number 53, co-captain Butch Wade. Illinois forward, 6'9" senior from Grand Rapids, number 44, Anthony Welch. Michigan forward, 6'6" senior from Riviera Beach, Florida, number 40, Richard Relford. At center for Illinois, a 6'10" senior from Kankakee, number 30, Scott Mentz. Michigan center, 6'11" senior from Detroit, number 42, co-captain Roy Tarpley. Guard for Illinois, 6'4" sophomore from Highland Park, Michigan, number 21, Glenn Blackwell. Michigan's guard, 6'3" sophomore from Canton, Ohio, number 25, Gary Grant. At guard for Illinois, a 6'3" senior from Quincy, number 25, Bruce Douglas. And Michigan's guard, 6'5" junior from Detroit, number 11, Antoine Jobert.
The coach of the Fighting Illini is Lou Henson, his 11th year in Illinois with 206 wins, his 24th year overall. And Bill Frieder of Michigan, his 6th year at this campus, 104-58. He's 4-6 against Illinois. Coming up the tip-off, it's the best matchup in the night's ball game as assigned by the Big Ten Conference. From left to right, Gary Muncie, Phil Robinson, and Bill Herzog. And I know they're up for this one tonight, and we are as well, as John Laskowski now will scout the matchups between Illinois and Michigan.
Inside, the big matchup is Mentz on Tarpley. He's got to be able to control Tarpley. And the guard situation, Michigan with Grant and Jobert, two pretty fine guards there. Blackwell, the fourth guard as the season starts. He's into a starting job.
So we've got the Wolverines in their home whites trimmed in gold and blue, and the Fighting Illini on the road in blue, trimmed in orange and white. Illini by 5 over the years since 1919, and Michigan is 12-4 against Illinois here, 10 of the last 11. To jump it up is Winters at midcourt. Against the big man, Roy Tarpley. There are your shooting percentages so far. Both teams over 50%, and Michigan has the opening tip. In control, Antoine Jobert. He's a 6'5" junior out of Detroit. And the man as Illinois opens things up defensively. Both coaches said they would. Gary Grant, the sophomore. They go left side to Tarpley. He makes a nice move inside, but he's a little bit short with it. Fighting on the boards is Mentz. Out of bounds against the Wolverines, as Mentz is going to have his hands full here tonight, John.
Bill Frieder said he wanted to go inside to Tarpley as much as he could. If Illinois adjusts and drops back on Tarpley, he's looking for Roy to drop the pass back out for a jump shot.
Bruce Douglas was the best defensive player in the league last year. He's the point guard. It's dumped off to Scott Mentz. Out on him is Tarpley, man-to-man underneath, back door open. Douglas blew the layup. Should have been 2 right there. Jobert freelancing a bit. Tarpley right side. Grant back on top to Jobert. Wade setting a pick. Tarpley down deep. In front of Winters, and a foul from behind as Winters got Butch Wade. Wade got in between him and the basket, and that's the first foul on Ephraim Winters, the 6'9" senior.
A lot of talent out there in today's game. Here's Wade going upside. Winters with the foul over the back. Winters didn't agree with that call.
He's out of Chicago. He was an All-American at King High School. And at the line, number 53, Butch Wade, a 6'8" senior swingman out of Tech High School in Boston. The Massachusetts Player of the Year 4 years ago. Michigan leads it 1-0.
All 4 positions except for Tarpley on Michigan's team were the Player of the Year in their respective state. And of course, Tarpley last year's MVP in the Big Ten. Michigan comes with a potent lineup.
Sounds like you don't even get recruited unless you're Mr. Basketball. That's 2. Minute 10 in. Howard Mentz can do offensively tonight, John. You know, he's got his hands so full defensively. There's a good feed underneath, and Douglas got it in, and that's the second time that he's got in through the back door along the baseline.
Mentz is a good player, scored 53 points in high school, so he is able to score. If he can hold Tarpley and do some scoring for himself, it'll help Illinois' cause.
Jobert, alley-oop, Tarpley. Down to the floor a couple of times. Nobody's going to stop him when he gets that close to the basket. He's averaging 15 a game with 9 rebounds. Both of those figures lead the nation's #2 team.
That's what Illinois has to stop, that pass into Tarpley against Indiana. Indiana let that pass go to Tarpley. He just turns and makes a nice move to the basket, as he did there.
Away from the basketball, we have a foul. It's underneath on Richard Relford. Number 40, a 6'6" senior.
Bill Frieder told us that each of the players on the Michigan team has a certain role. Tarpley's the scorer, Grant's the ball handler, the playmaker, Jobert's the outside shooter, Welford and Wade are in there for rebounding. If each guy does his role, it comes out to a team victory.
Lynn Blackwell, left side, and a turnover as the ball could not be handled by Bruce Douglas. And the Wolverines, leading 4-2, will have it. They're averaging 79 points a game, Illinois 78. And both teams are rebounding their opponents by about a dozen a game, so they've been very impressive on the boards. Jobert missing short badly, but got his own rebound. Underneath, great feed for Wade. He just kind of looked around the player who was guarding him and whipped it around on the baseline. Great assist. 6-2 for the home team.
Both coaches felt the rebounding is a key. There you see Jobert get the rebound, passes to Wade inside.
And they're keying on winners, very physically on him. Butch Wade out on top. Douglas from 17. Bruce Douglas is averaging 9 points a game. He has all 4 of Illinois' points. He's shooting 49% from the field. Lou Henson's been around for a while. 446 coaching wins at Hardin-Simmons, New Mexico State, and Illinois. He'll be 54, by the way, on Friday. What a birthday present a victory on the road would be, especially at Michigan. But he told us earlier, you can't count on coming in here and winning. Just have to give it your best shot. Hitting the boards hard was Blackwell, but the foul is on Wade of Michigan.
I think we'll see a very physical game today. Michigan likes to play that way. Illinois is a little taller, but not as heavy as the Michigan players. But I think Bill Frieder was right. Lou Henson talked about the rebounding. Frieder made an interesting comment that you try to prevent the ball from coming into the big men, but if a shot goes up, that means Illinois has got the position inside, so Illinois can take advantage of that rebounding, get those second shots in.
And then there's the question of depth. Michigan has more than Illinois. Here's a steal. Can he catch up with it? Butch Wade, look out! That's one way to get the home crowd into the game early. He has 6, and Michigan leads at 8-4. Electrifying play in the first 4 minutes of the ball game.
There you see Douglas slowing things down. Illinois can't be rattled by this. Keep their own game going.
There's Tarpley with a steal. Man open, Grant left side. Tarpley out of control, missed it, got his own rebound though. And he has 4. So for Michigan, it's starting with good defense.
Illinois has got to keep control of the ball. Look at Douglas now. He's saying, calm down. This is what he can do, is control this game. He walks the ball up the floor. He's trying to calm his teammates down. Look for that pass inside.
Out on top to Ephraim Winters. Illinois needs a basket here. Before that, they need a shot. They've come down twice in a row without getting one. Welch almost traveling. Left side, Blackwell. Glenn Blackwell's averaging 5 a game. He's a 6'4" senior out of Highland Park, Michigan. One of several Michigan players playing down in Champaign. It's a 4-point spread.
Illinois is going to try to clog that middle against Michigan. So they want the Illinois guards to take that shot from the outside.
Here's Jobert. And the tip by Tarpley. That's where Illinois is going to have to come up with something to keep Tarpley off the offensive glass. The player of the year now has 6. He was the first guy since Phil Hubbard about 8 years ago to get 500 points and 250 rebounds in a season. Did that last year as he averaged 19 a game and 11 boards. 14:40 first half. Another foul away from the ball. This one appears to be on Antoine Jobert.
Douglas has been playing low on offense. Coming off that pick, Jobert has not been able to stay with it. And that's the reason he's been scoring.
Officials timeout on the floor. Good start for the home team, the nation's #2 team behind Carolina. First half live at Chrysler Arena in Ann Arbor. #2 Michigan 12-6 over #18 Illinois. As we're just underway in this one, and John Laskowski rebounding has been a big factor early, as we said it would.
Michigan has 4, Illinois just 1 team rebound, but that was Jobert with an offensive rebound, led to a basket, and then Tarpley rebounded his own missed shot and put it back up.
A battle of big men here tonight. Illinois a little bit short in the guard department because of injuries, as John mentioned earlier. And they've been known to possibly go to a 4 big man offense here. Winters missing once and twice. Who's going to get it? Michigan. Here's Tarpley. Look out. Nobody for Illinois got down court in case they lost that ball, John. They were doing some serious ball watching at midcourt.
Both coaches have to like the hustle, though. That ball's loose on the floor. You're going after it. It just went Michigan's way.
14-6. Anthony Welch. Quiet offensively so far. Down deep it goes to Ken Norman. Turnaround. Norman's a 6'8 junior out of Peoria. He's averaging 14 a game and 7 rebounds to lead the Illinois ball club. Grant will dump it in the corner after the miss. Jobert back out on top.
The offensive rebound there enables Michigan to set up.
So that's at least 5 now in the ball game. And we're not even 7 minutes in. Here's Jobert working on Bruce Douglas. Grant, baseline left, up strong, Wade, no. Welch the defensive board, and in frustration maybe, Wade fouled him after missing the layup, and that's 2 on the 6'8 senior.
You see Lou Henson. I think Douglas is going to be a key to the game. A lot of times you'll see an injury happen on a team, but the other players pick up on that injury. Douglas, if he'll score 4 or 5 more points, each guy will do a little bit more. There's the turnovers. And that's the points. That's been the difference in the game. But Douglas, Welch adds a little bit. You can't replace a guy that you've lost, but if each guy chips in a little bit, that's the way to do it.
Raiders being watched by Butch Wade on top. Welch, baseline right. Nice move from Norman away from Tarpley. Went right around him with a great fake. He has 4.
Norman's usually a starter. Henson decided to go with Mentz. He quickly put Norman in the ball game. He's a very big offensive threat.
Well, John, it's not bad when you can have a guy coming off the bench shooting 65%. Tarpley lost it. Defensive play was made by Winters as he slapped it away from him. Tarpley was ready to go down the paint right at the iron. So now with the basket, Illinois could be back to within 2. Douglas matched up against Jobert. Man-to-man D so far from both ball clubs. Michigan is led by as many as 6. Anthony Welch. There's a steal. It's Gary Grant. Horse race, and he beats Blackwell to score. Grant has his first 2. He's averaging 14 a game, but in Big Ten play, he's averaging 22 a game.
Defense has been the key for Michigan early. They've converted those turnovers into fast break baskets.
There's another one. He's the team leader in steals, and he has the shot go off the iron as Blackwell fouled him. Now, if that's ruled an intentional foul, that could be 2 shots plus possession, John. We'll see how the officials rule. But Blackwell, the team leader in steals, just chalked up 2 in about a 25-second span, sparking his ball club. And we've got a timeout on the floor. We're just over 8 minutes in. Michigan looking strong at home. Saturday, we'll be back here at Chrysler Arena for more Big Ten basketball as the Wolverines play host to the Purdue Boilermakers. That's 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 Central. The best in college basketball Saturday on the Lorimar Sports Network. Bob Carpenter and John Laskowski with you. One of the senior Michigan fans here. They love their basketball in Ann Arbor. But she's young at heart, up there playing right with the band, wasn't she?
That fight song struck up, and it doesn't matter how old or young you are around this Michigan area. When that song comes up, you're on your feet.
Hey, I know, being the former Hoosier player that you were, this was always a very pleasant place to play on the road, wasn't it?
Very difficult. Now, Grant's at the line. It's going to be an intentional foul. A new rule in the NCAA this year. If the player's on the fast break, you push from behind. It's an intentional foul. You'll get 2 free throws unless the basket goes in. The basket counts. And you get the ball out of bounds. So the ball stays in Michigan's hands, a possible 4-point play.
And they lead now by 8 as Grant has 4. 37 steals now for him on the year.
Tarpley off to a great start. 4 of 6 from the floor. He's got 8 points, 4 rebounds. And Norman doing the job for Illinois. He's 2 out of 2 from the floor.
Jobert for Grant from downtown. He has been unbelievable shooting in the conference, John. He's now 2 out of 3 today, and he's 20 for 27 in conference play. That's up around 70%.
Sounds like it should be from the free throw line. Of course, he was the Big Ten Player of the Week this week.
2010. Baseline left, driving hard, scoring. Nice move by Ken Norman on a nice feed by Curtis Taylor, who just checked in, a freshman guard out of Syracuse.
I think Illinois has got to keep going inside just like that. They haven't got Anthony Welch involved in the offense yet, but boy, Norman coming off that bench sure has involved himself.
Here's Douglas with a steal. The league's best defensive player a year ago. Underneath for Welch, and it cost him an easy 2. Hard to tell from our angle whether it was a bad pass or not. But that was an easy 2-on-1, and Illinois could have gotten back to within 6. Wade will lead, and on for the Michigan Wolverines is Robert Henderson, a 6'9" senior. He's a swing man out of Eastern High School over in Lansing. 2012. We're approaching the 11-minute mark here, remaining in the first half. Here's Jobert in the paint, left side for the man who just came in, and bingo, Robert Henderson.
The other strength Michigan has is their bench. They go about 8 players deep. Henderson is one of those players, so Bill Frieder can substitute freely without losing anything on the floor.
They're not too shy coming off the pine, are they? Norman came off and probably got 6. Henderson right there. Here's Welch from long range. Anthony Welch, 6'9" senior out of Grand Rapids, the #1 Illinois scorer a year ago. 52% from the field, 12 points a game. Kind of interesting when a guy like him, 6'9", is considered the small forward, because Ephraim Winters, who's a real power forward, is playing on the other side. Here's Tarpley underneath, and Welch went up and got him. Battle of the big men there, and they're having a few words. I think Anthony thought he had a stuff.
He did bring the ball behind. Boy, it really gets off the floor well here. See how high he is up? He jumped quicker than Tarpley did and did get the back of the ball. The foul goes against him.
Looked like nothing but ball with the right hand. Maybe the official ruled he made contact with the left arm. Roy Tarpley, 6'11".
Tarpley had that scope surgery on his knee over the summer. Caused him to miss about 20 practices. Bill Frieder thinks he's just now starting to come around in his conditioning. Those 20 missed practices he felt hurting.
With his 9 points here tonight, he needs 42 to become #8 in scoring all time for Michigan, to pass Steve Grody. Into double figures very early in the game. By 10 leads the home team. Full court pressure now from the Wolverines. Ephraim Winters will clear the timeline, and luckily for Illinois, they kept possession, but now a steal, and Taylor fouled Jobert after he took it away. Outstanding defense by Michigan.
Surprised Illinois with that full court press. Caused the turnover. Bill Frieder used a lot of different things. The slap from behind by Henderson that actually went off of Taylor's foot, and Jobert is able to come up with it.
Glenn Blackwell is back in to replace Curtis Taylor. At the halfway mark of the first half right now, 10 minutes and counting. And the home team has been impressive so far, 24-14. Ranked #2 only behind North Carolina, and a foul away from the ball on Gary Grant. 6'3" sophomore out of Canton, Ohio. He was the Big Ten Freshman of the Year in '85. Richard Relford will lead. Glenn Rice, number 41, 6'7" freshman out of Flint, Michigan. Northwestern High School is in. So now we're seeing some of that interchangeability of the Wolverines of Michigan. Winters from 16. Ephraim Winters, his first basket. He's averaging 9 and 6 rebounds.
The assist to Douglas that time, and he's going to be the key for Illinois' offense. He's either got to set it up or take his man down low, and he gets double teamed, make the pass as he did there.
In only 13 ball games this year, he already has close to 90 assists. 6 or 7 a game. Gary Grant, left side, Gilbert. He's averaging 12 a game. A two-time All-American in high school at Southwestern in Detroit. And it's Michigan holding on fast to that 10-point lead. Anthony Welch. Under pressure from Rice, he got it over him and in for his second field goal.
He shoots well off that dribble. He can post inside, but he'll take 1 or 2 quick dribbles, and there you see him make the jumper.
Quick transition. Shot at the other end, no, from Douglas. They're checking it was Gary Grant, and here comes Douglas back the other way for Illinois. 8.5 minutes remaining in the first half. Hope you're enjoying the best of the Big Ten on Lorimar. 2 top 20 teams meeting here tonight in Ann Arbor. They tried to dump it on top to Welch. Glenn Rice with the steal. Welch after him. And that'll probably be the 2-shot intentional foul again.
It's really going to become a judgment call for these officials this year. Here's the steal by Rice. Welch is chasing from behind. He's got that left arm on there. And again, we're going to get the 2 free throws and then out of bounds to Michigan. I think the early key in the game has been the ability of Michigan to score on the turnovers or the steals. They've taken the fast break opportunities and convert them into baskets. Lou Henson comes off the bench and onto the floor.
Well, he's already looking at 2 free throws here for the visiting, or rather for the home team, and he may get himself slapped with another. He was well out onto the floor to talk to the official, Gary Muncy, trying to settle things down there, the man in the stripes.
Henson didn't feel that was intentional to draw that 2-shot foul and the ball.
And the freshman missed both of them. Bill Frieder a bit upset that his freshman couldn't cash in. You know, that's such a big offensive play now, John. You can get a 4-point play on that sort of thing, but you've got to make the free throws first, and Henson is still very upset.
That's Gary Muncy on the sidelines, and we're going to get a technical. He's really after Phil Bova at center court. Sorry, Phil Robinson at center court. And Henson disagreed with that 2-shot intentional foul, puts Gary Grant at the line.
Well, he's getting his point across, and it's not hurting him in terms of free throws. Michigan has missed 3 straight now.
44 points in a weekend against Indiana and Ohio State.
Grant has 7. Michigan has seemingly had possession about as long as the football Wolverines usually kept it. And we've got a 27-18 score with 8:17 remaining.
The game is also very physical inside at both ends of the floor. A lot of bumping inside for position. So we should see a lot of fouls called today.
Give and go. Gilbert. Oh, he's fouled before he stuck. Getting him from behind was Bruce Douglas. And then Ephraim Winters was up high. And Henson is all over the official for this one as well.
Gilbert's got the inside position, a good fake there.
Pretty obvious foul, really.
Douglas is able to get it on the way down.
Antoine Gilbert, 6'5" junior. A 2-time All-Big Ten performer. He's the number 3 man all-time in assists at this university.
They nicknamed him the Judge. See him directing that traffic out there. He does for Michigan what Douglas does for Illinois.
Offensive rebound, up and in. The man off the bench, Robert Henderson. So Henderson has 4, and it's a 12-point lead. Intense pressure by Michigan all over the floor. That's one thrown away. Officials timeout. Michigan all over Illinois here. They lead by a dozen. Trip from here and be over in East Lansing as the Michigan State Spartans host the Fighting Illini at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 Central. The best in college basketball Sunday on the Lorimar Sports Network. Boy, a tough road trip for the Fighting Illini. Go from here to East Lansing, trailing here by a dozen, John, with almost 8 minutes left in the first half.
Michigan now 8 out of 12 from the free throw line. Illinois has not shot a free throw. Rebounding, Michigan 7, Illinois 4.
Michigan's made a habit of shooting more free throws than their opponents. Here's Jobert. Missed badly on the baseline jumper right. Got his own rebound, then lost it. And Winters has it for Illinois. It's been a long time since the Fighting Illini have been down the floor for a good shot.
Michigan has shot 95 more free throws than their opponents, and that's a big part of their offense.
Good defense down deep. Gary Grant.
Illinois is 9 out of 12. Nothing wrong with that, but Michigan has taken more shots, 11-19. You add those free throws, and a big Michigan lead.
Yeah, and if you give Michigan good free throw shooting, they'd be up by about 16 right now instead of 12. That's a 5-second violation. Then Blackwell pressured on the play by Gary Grant.
Even though you're dribbling the ball, if you're closely guarded for 5 seconds, you've got to make a move toward the basket.
Look at those turnovers. And a dozen points, none for Illinois, resulting. Wolverines a bit deliberate here now. They want the good shot. That's the most important thing when you're up by 12, John, is not do anything to take you out of your offense. It's great to get up and down the floor, but you want to handle things intelligently as well.
Now they've got control of the game. They can take some time off that shot clock. 14 seconds left.
Jobert. Rice on top. They've got to put it up soon. 7 seconds. Now it's down to 3. Henderson from outside. Air ball. Nothing but glass on that one. That time they worked it down a little bit too long.
They didn't run their offense to set that play. Jobert gets caught in the corner. You're right, Bob. A little too long on that offense.
6:15 remaining. First half. Michigan 30-18. They led by 12-6 early. 16-10 at the next timeout. Blackwell, baseline left, up strong, too strong, was Ken Norman. Jobert on the transition for Michigan. Setting a pick, Tarpley, baseline, no. Tipped up and in, Henderson. He's come off the bench for 6. 32-18. Clock running, 5:40 remaining. Douglas doing it himself, short on it. Winters almost committed a foul from behind on Tarpley, who cleared the defensive board. Look at Grant operate. Out on top, Henderson thought about it. Rice will follow through with it. Henderson missing on the tip. And a defensive foul on Ephraim Winters. And John Laskowski, the Wolverines are very intimidating on that offensive glass.
That's the rebounding we talked about. Jobert coming out of the ball game. Guard Thompson, number 30, to replace him. But Michigan's controlled the rebounding. At the Illinois end, they were only allowing a 1 shot. They can pull the rebound out and come down and set the offense. But when Michigan shoots and misses, they've always got a guy there tipping it around and keeping control of the ball.
Scott Metz out of Kankakee on again for Illinois. He's known as a good defensive rebounder, and that's what Illinois needs right now. The lead is 15. Tarpley has 11 of them.
First half, 11 points and 5 rebounds. He's really expected to have a good year this year.
You know, and the one thing that the coaches say about it, he worked very hard during the offseason. He wasn't satisfied with being the Big Ten Player of the Year. Welch behind Douglas. Another turnover. They're into double figures now on coughing up the basketball. Lou Henson has to be unhappy about that. but the defensive pressure is the reason.
That goes to show you don't have to make the steals on that full court press if you can force the other team into turnovers. That's twice now Illinois has made an errant pass out of bounds.
Michigan with a chance to double the Illinois score here with the basket. 4:50 remaining. Good hustle there and a steal for Glenn Blackwell. He goes against Grant, who slaps it away. Douglas picked it up and lost it. Here comes Grant again. He's something defensively. Dishes, Tarpley, turnaround, faking, and scoring. He took 2 men right out of the play.
Great move that time. And look at the smile on his face as he fakes that jump shot and splits right to the 2 jumping Illini players and gets an easy layup. 14 points now.
Underneath, Mentz got a good feed from on top, but he was fouled by Tarpley in the play. I'll tell you, the Michigan bench enjoyed that last one.
Bob, you look at the Michigan team, and you just can't find a weakness. They got some pretty good outside shooting. They got a 6'11" center. They got 2 strong forwards. They got a bench. I just don't see them have a weakness. We talked to Bill Frieder. He said, well, my forwards don't shoot real well, but they rebound, and I didn't really consider that a big weakness with all the other pluses he had going for him.
He says, yeah, you can only use 8 players, but they're among the best in the nation. And there's another turnover as Ken Norman dumped it down the paint, and it was too tall for Ephraim Winters.
Illinois is really not taking good care of that ball. Michigan's putting good pressure on him, but I'm sure you'll see Coach Henson talk about controlling that ball in his halftime talk.
Dirty dozen for Illinois now. Card Thompson on top. Right side for Gary Grant, always in motion. Baseline right, he was fouled. Blackwell got him.
Grant coming on the drive. He's not afraid to go inside. He's a good leaper. Illinois has to commit the foul to prevent that basket.
Gary Grant out of Canton, Ohio. Well, he had a great season against Illinois last year in 3 different departments. He has 8 here. He's averaging 14 a game, and as we said, 22 in conference play. And Curtis Taylor, the freshman from Syracuse, is back in.
Grant's nickname is the General, so you got a general and a judge in your backcourt, and that's 2 pretty good guys to have.
Yeah, with all that authority, they seem to be getting along pretty well together. It's 20, Michigan leading Illinois by 3:52 remaining in the first half from Ann Arbor. Mars Sports Network under copyright of the Big Ten Conference. Any rebroadcast in whole or in part of the contents of this copyrighted broadcast without the express written consent of the Big Ten Conference strictly prohibited. Bob Carpenter, John Laskowski, Chrysler Arena, Ann Arbor. It's been all Wolverines so far. On the left side, it won't go for Anthony Welch. Up and in, Ephraim Winters. That's why he is considered such a good power forward.
That's Illinois' game. They try to take that good shot and then come back with that rebound. 12 rebounds for Michigan. With that one, give Illinois 8 for the game.
18-point lead. Baseline right. Tarpley against Winters. Dumps it on top for Henderson. Kind of a strange finger roll on that shot. It seemed to hit his palm and then bounce up and hit his fingertips, and he still got it down.
Looks like he shoots that ball off his palm a little bit. Notice how Tarpley gets the ball inside. He feels he's covered. He gives the ball to the open man.
Yeah, then what do you do defensively when he starts dishing up? Taylor with a playground move into the paint, but he couldn't get it. And back the other way, guard Thompson. Glenn Rice, Henderson back to Thompson. On the left side for Grant, who's had a great first half here. Clock running with 2:35 remaining. Thompson 20 feet away. And there's an easy steal for Douglas. Bruce Douglas looking for 6 points. That's why he's known as one of the great defensive players in the Big Ten.
That's the kind of play that'll help Illinois get back in the ball game. A steal or a turnover by Michigan, and then Illinois has got to convert it quickly.
And right away, Antoine Gilbert is up on Bill Frieder's bench, and he'll probably replace the man responsible for that turnover, guard Thompson. Look at them hit the offensive boards. They are awesome. 10 for Henderson coming off the bench.
Now, Illinois is not a small team inside, but we've seen Michigan take control of those boards and, in fact, have taken control of the game.
To the tune of 42-22. This is Welch. Tough first half for him so far. The right side, Curtis Taylor.
Wants to play inside. Everybody battling for position. Michigan doing a good job on defense. Illinois still trying to get that pass inside.
Welch. Yes.
He's real smooth with that jump shot. He's slender at 6'9", but 200 pounds, but he's very smooth. He wiggles between players, and then he's got that shot. It's a sophomore.
Rice for Grant. Nice takeaway by Douglas, who hustling could not keep it from crossing the baseline. But you're looking at a guy who's very intense defensively. And if anybody can spark an Illinois comeback, it's number 25. Now we've got Rice checking out. Thompson will leave as well. Jobert is back in. So is Richard Relford for Michigan. Anderson for Jobert. We're 10 seconds away from the 1-minute mark remaining in the first half. So Michigan will have a healthy lead at halftime. Looking for their 20th straight victory here and their 18th straight Big Ten win. There's another steal by Douglas. Dumbing it down. Here comes Lowell Hamilton, who just came in. Big play again by Douglas, and it's now a 16-point game.
Hamilton, just a freshman out of Providence St. Mel, led his team to the high school championship, and Streeton Smith named him the #1 player in the nation in high school last year. Illinois expecting big things out of Lowell before his career is over.
And of course, one of the great high schools in the Windy City of Chicago over the years. Hamilton stands 6'7", 195. They'll bulk him up a little bit as the years go by. 21 seconds remaining, 16 on the shot clock. So they can let one fly with less than 10 seconds remaining if they choose to do so. Look at Douglas again. Here he comes. 4 big defensive plays by Bruce Douglas. He has 8. And now it's a 14-point lead. Another stop. Here's Taylor after the defensive play by Anthony Welch. They couldn't get the shot away, but Illinois definitely finishes the first half on an up note, you might say. But Bill Frieder's team leads by 14 at the half. He thinks it ought to be more.
And with Coach Raveling at Iowa in the sweatsuit, Bob Knight in a shirt and sweater, I think Bill Frieder adds a little bit with the towel he drapes across his shoulder. He must have it there for a reason, but again, a little different look.
Coach Frieder was a little bit tight before this one. He was very nervous about tonight's ball game, but the way his team played had to relax him some, although I know he had to be very upset about those turnovers late. They could have led by 20 going into the locker room instead of 14. Here's Welch improvising. Nothing there. Good defense. Down deep by Richard Relford. This is Jobert working against Douglas.
Get off each other, 24-42.
Tarpley, baseline right. And 3 seconds called as Butch Wade didn't come out of the paint early enough to receive the bounce pass.
They're going to call a foul there on Wade with his right arm trying to get position inside. His 3rd foul. A big play there, although Michigan's got that strong bend.
Official fooled me with his wave of the arm. Looked like he was signaling 3 seconds, and then they called the foul. First team foul here in the second half, and it's on top for Anthony Welch. On the give and go, receives it. Can't knock it in. Winters too strong with the tip. It was tipped by the defensive man as Glenn Blackwell, in the opinion of the official, got a piece of it on the way out. Gary Grant whipping it to the left wing there on the transition game.
There's the towel. Bill Frieder's left shoulder.
Lou Henson talked about the importance of Illinois stopping that fast break of Michigan.
But when Michigan forces that turnover, a one on nobody, that's really not a fast break you can defend.
Baseline left, Tarpley triple teamed, and Douglas took it away. Looked like killed the guy with the ball that time. They sent everybody after the big man. Winters left side, Norman up strong, and he has 8.
Now you see Illinois moving the ball inside. The possession before this, they got the offensive rebound, but were not able to convert. This time they again go inside, and that's their game to beat Illinois.
Well, we saw on Sunday afternoon, Indiana come back from a 15-point deficit at home against Michigan State. Illinois Illinois trying to do it on the road here at Michigan. Down by a dozen. They've trailed by as many as 20. There's Wade. Nothing for him. Welch was fouled by Richard Relford.
I'm sure the other thing Lou Henson talked about was that rebounding. You can see Illinois coming out, blocking out a little better at the Michigan end of the floor. That time Relford had to go over the top with the foul.
Now, with a basket, we could have a 10-point ball game.
This is the game Illinois wants. Look at Douglas bringing that ball up the floor. And let's see if Illinois can go inside or if they're forced to take that outside shot.
Norman. There's an open jumper for the right side. Douglas won't miss too many like that when he's that open. And he has 10, and it's a 10-point game. And now the crowd trying to get its team back up. It's been a while since they've knocked one down. Gilbert. He has 5, averaging a dozen.
Gilbert felt that. The exact thing you talked about there, Bob. Said, give me that ball, and I'll get us 2 points.
Coaches always look for that one player who will step forward and want the basketball in pressure situations. And I'd say 10-point lead is a pressure situation when you've given up 10 more before that. Won't go for Anthony Welch. Defensive board cleared by Gary Grant. Gilbert, baseline left double, pumping and scoring. The foul by Welch, and the basket by Richard Relford.
Great athletic ability on Gilbert's part just to catch the ball, and then off the dribble, he dishes the ball to Relford. He loses control and somehow is able to get it back and put it in.
Richard Relford is a 6'6" senior who goes 230 out of Riviera Beach, Florida. Started all 30 games a year ago, and a big 3-point play there. His first points of the ball game gives his team a 15-point lead.
The other thing that a great team will do is when things aren't going quite well, the visiting teams making a comeback, they're able to somehow stop it. They did that against Indiana last week. Indiana made a run and Michigan held them, and now they're doing it against Illinois.
Tarpley almost with a steal. On the left side, it's up and in as Glenn Blackwell has his second basket of the game. Tarpley came very close to stealing that ball down deep. A lot of time left in this one. We're only 4 minutes into the second half. Gilbert taken away by Douglas. Great body control to get it down to Blackwell without fouling. He'll put it up again. What a ball game defensively for Bruce Douglas here tonight.
Blackwell with a good shot, but Bob, you're exactly right. Bruce Douglas, defensive ace out there. He's really caused Michigan some havoc today.
This is Grant. A little bit out of control. He forced it up. And then on the defensive board, a very unfortunate foul for Illinois' Welch, because his teammate Winters had an easy rebound.
Illinois forced that shot a little bit, and you see Welch coming out of the ballgame.
He will lead with 3 fouls, and we've got 15:36 remaining in the second half of play. Michigan on top by 11. Stay with us, because at the conclusion of tonight's game, we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player of the game from each team. I think if I went over and polled the Illinois bench, it would be a pretty unanimous vote right now to toast to Budweiser to Bruce Douglas. He's brought them back almost single-handedly. Lowell Hamilton, number 45, you saw coming back in. He's the freshman out of Chicago. Tarpley, offensive board. I'll tell you what, Michigan needs a basket here. They don't get one, and Illinois does. It'll be a 9-point lead. You get into single figures, and anything can happen. Gilbert forcing one. Foul underneath. Offensively, it appears to be Gary Grant.
You're right, Bob. Gilbert forced that shot. Michigan's got away from their success in the first half by trying to push that ball inside of their big men, and that's given Illinois the opportunity to cut that lead under 10.
You know, you take away some of those defensive plays they made, John, that turned into easy baskets, and just rate one offense against the other. It's been a pretty even ball game in that respect.
It has, and Illinois has got to continue to move that ball inside as opposed to take that outside shot.
Big play for Grant. Off to the races against Hamilton, and he lost it. He was thinking more about how he was going to get up strong against the big man Hamilton, and lost the ball. Just simply lost control here.
Good steal, and there you see out of the corner of his eye, Hamilton's right there.
A lot of time remaining, 14:50. Very much in it is Illinois. Baseline right, jumper short. Good pressure by the home team, as missing was Glenn Blackwell. Here's Jobert. Relford may have walked. This is probably one of the worst streaks Michigan's had all year long, John.
But they still control that 11-point lead. That's the thing that's amazed me in the two games I've seen about them. They'll have this bad streak yet, but the other team's not able to catch them.
Douglas forcing, a little bit short. Rebound underneath, or rather a foul, as the defensive board was controlled. And it appears to be Ephraim Winters. It would be his third. Illinois now with two players showing 3 fouls, Welch and Winters.
Michigan's got to set that offense up. Illinois is doing the job by forcing that outside shot, and that's kept them in the ball game, just 11 points down.
8-5. Illinois has outscored Michigan here since halftime, when they trailed by 14. Tarpley 10 feet away. By the time he jumps, he's only about 5 feet away.
He's just tough to stop. Looking at him on the floor before the game, compared to the size of the rest of the players, he was easily two inches bigger than most of his teammates at Michigan, a true 6'11", and there you see him takes that little jump hook.
Norman looking for penetration down to the baseline. It's where he shoots best from. Short with that one. Illini hitting the boards hard. Tarpley comes away with it. It's on the baseline and belongs to the home team.
If Illinois is able to take that shot inside, they also have a better chance for that offensive rebound. Michigan's really battle them inside, but that's the key. If Illinois misses that first shot, they can still get the rebound. Tarpley now 16 points and 10 rebounds for the game.
Man-to-man D by Illinois. To the right wing for Relford. Back on top, they refire for Jobert. Douglas ever slapping at the ball, looking for that steal constantly. Got a piece of it. Down deep, Tarpley. Reverse hook. And the rebound, Douglas. Great feed for Blackwell. Ooh, and he almost blew the layup. But another big play by Douglas at the defensive end.
What a job he's done. Tarpley trying to get the ball inside. Illinois right there.
He's really attracting some attention, isn't it?
He's got to be able to dump that ball off. If Illinois sags in, he's got to dump that ball to Grant or Jobert for the outside shot.
Gary Grant, long with it, Winters. And now, Illinois with its first chance to get it under 10, and they almost threw it away. Blackwell, after a good save by Ken Norman, defensive rebound. Butch Wade. That was not very good structured offense by Illinois, and Lou Henson has to be upset at that selection of style. Tarpley, 20 feet away, dumps it, and it's a turnover. Looking down deep. There's where you have your big man looking down deep for a guard in the paint.
Jobert and Grant on a pick that time. As Illinois switched it, Grant was open. The pass just over his head as Henderson checks back into the lineup.
In place of Butch Wade, also back in is Glenn Rice. For Michigan, guard Thompson will make a reappearance. Grant's leaving. Relford leaving. Ephraim Winters has taken a seat for Illinois, and they brought on Scott Mentz, number 30, the 6'10 senior center. 49-38, 12 minutes to go. And a little bit of luck for Hamilton to control that ball, but he couldn't get it down. Walking.
Inside position, but was not able to make that basket.
Officials timeout on the floor. 11:48 remaining. It's not real pretty out there right now. Sunday afternoon, Big Ten basketball from East Lansing, Michigan. The Spartans will host the Fighting Illini at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 Central. The best in college basketball this weekend on the Lorimar Sports Network. John, we took a timeout almost 4 minutes ago. Since then, each team has scored a grand total of 2 points.
Turnovers are the big key here in the second half. Michigan has 6 second-half turnovers. Illinois, none as of yet.
Fighting Illini trying to get that lead down in single figures. Trailing with the basketball by 11. Douglas for Mentz. Douglas, such a big key in the middle part of this ball game for the visiting team. Blackwell's been a force lately as well, reaping the benefits from a shooting standpoint of some of that Douglas defense. Mentz, thank you, says Roy Tarpley. Trying to dump it down to Ken Norman. That's the only problem with bringing Tarpley out top. It cuts down your capability for a feed inside. We're 9 minutes into the half now. Tarpley for Jobert. This is Henderson back to the wing. Bart Thompson from downtown. Rice, no. Rebound for Mentz. Clears it off for Douglas.
Illinois keeping that ball out of Tarpley's hands.
Mentz 18 feet away. Alley-oop. Fumbled. Hamilton got it. He was stuffed but fouled by Glenn Rice. So Illinois basically luring Tarpley out to the free throw line, John, and then dumping it in behind him.
We'll see Illinois having a little team huddle, and this will be the first chance Illinois has to go to the free throw line today. Hamilton comes up with a loose ball and the foul to Rice.
Hamilton looking down saying, what is this? And his teammate says, well, that's the charity stripe, my friend. So the freshman steps up. He's 6'7", out of Providence St. Mellon, Chicago. An All-American, 21 points a game last year. Street and Smiths called him the #1 high school player in the nation.
The real experience that Hamilton's getting, not only in the games here, but every day at practice, he's facing guys like Welch, Ephraim Winters, and Norman, and he's improved his game in practice. And as you'll see in his career, he should get better each year.
They knew he was good right out of 8th grade when he scored 31 points as a freshman in his first high school game. 10-point is the spread. And we've got a long way to go. 10-22. Michigan's got to get some offense going here, or else they might be in trouble in a couple of minutes. Tarpley, 12 feet away. He may have shuffled the feet. And that's another turnover.
7 now for Michigan. Illinois with 1. Anthony Welch checks back into the ball game. Just 6 points. He's got those 4 fouls, which has hampered him. But Lou Henson feels at the 10-14 mark he's got to get Welch in there for his offensive ability.
Lowell Hamilton has departed. Douglas against Jobert. On top for Norman, being watched by Henderson. Mentz, 15 feet away, down deep, taken away by Robert Henderson. Great steal by Douglas on the floor, and he was fouled by Roy Tarpley. Another big saving play by Douglas. He was in no man's land, surrounded by white shirts.
Thompson felt he had to drive all the way. Look at Douglas, cuts right in front of him, but is able to do it quickly enough to avoid the foul. Now the scrap on the floor, Tarpley with the foul.
Ephraim Winters is back in.
Boy, Illinois is in a situation now where if they can start converting on some of these steals by Douglas or the Michigan turnovers, they'll be right back in the ball game.
Scott Mentz is back on the Illinois bench, and he is very angry. Really jawing about something to the coaches, not at them, but to them about something going on out there. He's probably getting bumped around some by this physical Michigan team. From outside, missed badly. Rebound Winters after Blackwell's miss, and Illinois fails to get off another shot.
Michigan crowd wants a foul there as Jobert comes up with it. Here's Gar Thompson bringing it up.
Michigan, in the first 10 minutes and 50 seconds of this half, John, 7 points.
Well, they're in that bad stretch, but as I mentioned, Illinois has not been able to cut that lead below 10 points.
Well, we haven't seen Gary Grant in a little while. He was out there making some good things happen in the first half. Had a couple of turnovers late in the first half. Away from the ball, Ephraim Winters with his 4th unofficially.
Now Illinois starts to creep into that foul trouble. Winters with 4, Welch with 4 as Douglas goes over to tell him, we've got to have you in the ball game.
Bryson Thompson sitting down for Michigan. Back in is Relford, and the man we just talked about who's at the line now, Gary Grant. Well, he's actually out on top on the inbounds play. At the line, looking to release for the pass, which he does. Gilbert. 8:45 left in the game. Michigan led 42-28 at the half. Now it's 49-39. So Illinois hasn't exactly been setting the house on fire either. Look at that strong move by Richard Relford, the 6'6 senior. 5 points all since halftime.
That's what he can do as a power forward, take a few dribbles toward that hoop, and then get that soft jumper.
Only Blackwell of Illinois has scored more points since intermission. He has 6. And he is now over 1,000 career points. He needed 4 here tonight, and he's the 22nd Michigan player to reach that career plateau. Defensive board. Here comes Tarpley, who can handle the ball for a big man. Relford walked with it. He got so excited about that 1,000-point club that he tried to walk over and receive his trophy, and he had the ball.
Tarpley trying to get rid of the ball as soon as he can, but he had beaten the guards down the floor, led Relford, so he had to travel in order to come up with the ball.
Illinois has got to get something going offensively here. This is Winters. Scoring-wise, he hasn't been much of a factor tonight with only 4 points. Norman, little one-on-one, dumps it left side, up strong, Blackwell. Boy, they're not getting any second shots. Cleared away by Rice. Jobert, alley-oop. Wow! Richard Relford with 7.
Yeah, I think he is getting fired up after that career mark by Wade over 1,000.
1,003. That got the crowd back in. We'll see what it means to this Michigan team that's been wallowing here in the second half. They've been rather stale, but now the crowd is fresh. Douglas, one way to shut him down is with a basket, and that's what Blackwell does. He's into double figures with 10.
Exactly what Illinois needed to quiet that crowd, set them back down. Illinois now trailing by 12.
With 6:40 remaining. Hope you're enjoying the best of the Big Ten here on the Lower Mars Sports Network. Baseline left for Tarpley. Off his toe, out of bounds, says the official. Belongs to Illinois. So we have an official's timeout on the floor. 6:36 remaining. Very much of a game. Saturday, right back here at Chrysler Arena for more Big Ten basketball. Michigan playing host to the Purdue Boilermakers. They're rated number 20 in the nation. 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 Central. The best in college basketball on the Lower Mars Sports Network.
Illinois still trying to fight back in the ball game. Michigan with 10 second-half turnovers. Illinois 2, but Michigan out rebounding Illinois in the second half. Michigan with 14 rebounds. Tarpley has 6 of those. Illinois just 6 rebounds as a team.
Here's Taylor driving back in there. Another look at guard for Lou Henson as he gets the 6'1 freshman out of Syracuse back in there, Curtis Taylor. Here's Douglas, who's had the weight of the university on his shoulders here tonight. 6:11 remaining. 12-point game. Taylor. Douglas. Winters backing it against Tarpley. Over him. Won't go. Who's going to get the loose ball? Saved by Michigan, and then they fumble it out of bounds. And Lou Henson can't believe that they allowed the first save. He thought that Henderson was on the line before he went out to get the ball.
Great camera angle here. Look at Henderson's right foot.
Ooh, I don't think the league supervisor of officials will want to see that replay because they allowed that save, and he's here tonight. From the left side, up and in. So Douglas has a dozen. Well, Lou Henson's guys came away with 2 anyway. 10-point game, 5:35 remaining.
Battle inside now as Tarpley works for position.
Double teamed and triple teamed. Comes loose, knocked away. Here's Ken Norman off to the races. And it's an 8-point game. And was that a foul on Tarpley? A most unnecessary one at that. Big play.
Just as we watch Tarpley inside, Douglas comes in to knock the ball away. Now Norman's got a 2-on-1. He has to switch to the left hand, and there's a little slap by Tarpley, and the call.
That's his 3rd. And a very unnecessary foul. Now, the 3-point play, if converted, could make this a 7-point game. Lane violation against Illinois.
They're going to call that...
Or was it again? It must have been against Michigan. They were pointing the other way, and now they'll allow Norman to shoot again.
Against Michigan, so he's still got another free throw here. Norman's got a little delay there. Watch how he takes that shot, and then it looks like he's going to shoot, but yet he pauses, and he drew Henderson over the line.
Norman, big 3-point play. He has 11. 5:15 remaining.
Illinois crept back into it, Bob, with their defense and the Michigan turnovers, and they're at the point now to make a strong run.
Well, it was Jekyll and Hyde for the Wolverines here tonight. 19-footer, Grant. Gary has 11.
Talk about your money players. Grant knows Michigan needs a basket. He takes that 17-footer.
Our 2 guesses and call it 18. 4:40. Taylor, watch there by Grant. Missing badly to the right. Defensive board. Roy Tarpley of Michigan.
Illinois has got to continue to work that ball inside. That's where they're going to score their points.
Henderson and Gilbert on the feet thinking just that. It appears to be a foul on Curtis Taylor. Back in 21, Glenn Blackwell. Taylor will leave.
Just the 15th foul, so the ball goes out of bounds. The players are getting a little tired out there. Both Relford and Grant with their hands on their knees.
Gobert dumps it in for Henderson. A rather late whistle. He dumped it in. It was in the hands of the receiving player before the whistle blew on the 5-second call.
Now, the rule on the 5-second call is even though the out-of-bounds players release the ball, it's got to touch a teammate of his before the 5 seconds. So as the ball's if he throws the ball at 4 and it takes a second to get to his teammate, then that's still the 5-second call.
Here's Welch. Winters from 16. Henderson there to clear the defensive glass. Kept it in bounds.
Michigan needs to take care of that ball. They don't need a fast break basket now on that pass to Relford. Bring it out as Grant did and set the offense.
Gilbert from Grant, working on Douglas. On the free throw line, he lost control. Blackwell and Norman. Take your pick. Blackwell has 12, 10 of them since halftime, and it's a 7-point game once again with 3 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. Timeout, Michigan. Bill Frieder has seen enough, at least for now. So, 3:20 left in the basketball game. Michigan, the nation. Lorimar sports staff stays at the Sheraton University Inn when in Ann Arbor. Conveniently located near the university at I-94 and State Street. Make the Sheraton University Inn your headquarters for business or pleasure on your next visit to Ann Arbor. 3:20 remaining in the game. The home team on top by 7. In possession, 55-48. Illinois matching up defensively on the inbounds play at midcourt.
Second half shooting 6 out of 14 for Michigan, 9 of 21 for Illinois. So Illinois has gotten 7 more shots, a turnaround from the first half when Michigan took more shots.
Thompson on top for Grant. Grant, the man who's super quick out there, so they want him handling the ball. Out of control, dumps it across, and Douglas with a steal. Sees a man left side. Blackwell back in front to Norman.
Great play by Blackwell as Douglas got him the ball, but Blackwell didn't have an angle to the basket. He looks underneath to Norman, and look at the scoring by the halves. All Michigan in the first half, but Illinois in the second.
Outscoring the home team by 9 here. Grant gets it back from guard Thompson. 2:20 remaining. 5 points is the spread.
This is a big test of Michigan's composure. They have not played well in the half, but still hold the lead with 2:10 to go. They've got to remain confident in their ability to play and ice this game.
Jobert from outside. Hasn't scored much tonight. He has 7. And a big one right there for the guy who's hitting 50% from the field. Minute 45 remaining. 7-point ball game. Illinois is going to make some things happen a little quicker. Blackwell tried to do that. Fouled by Tarpley. 4 on the big man. Tarpley had 14 points in the first half. A deuce since intermission. And Illinois now with a chance to score points with the clock stopped. Minute 37.
And then we'll probably see Illinois in some kind of full court pressure, which they have not put on Michigan yet. But they need to get that ball on the turnover.
Lynn Blackwell out of Highland Park, Michigan. Can't afford that. He has 13. Full court pressure. Gary Grant with a quick move up the sideline. Got away from Blackwell. There's the super quickness of Grant we talked about a moment ago. He did a 180 and sped up the runway, and the only way to stop him was to foul him.
Still out of bounds, though, as that's the 16th foul against Illinois, so Michigan not going to the line till the next foul.
Henderson for guard Thompson. Grant. Or Jobert. They're going to trap now when they cross the timeline. Minute 20 remaining. 30 seconds on the shot clock.
Illinois has got to create something here. Either foul, if they can't get the turnover, the clock's running against them.
There they did. As guard Thompson looked, and the quickness of his teammate Gary Grant fooled him, and he dumped it behind him. And now a timeout for Illinois. Minute 7 remaining. Every time Michigan looks on the verge of icing this one, they throw it away.
Now with a 5-point deficit, a quick basket here and on to the full court press.
You look at a ball club that's forced 14 turnovers, John, and you'd figure they would outscore their opponents by more than 8 points. But not here.
Blackwell, the substitute we had talked about for Weisinger, 13 points now, and Norman 13 points off the bench for Illinois.
Here's Douglas, double pumping off the glass, and a foul on Relford. Not a good shot by Bruce Douglas, and Illinois very fortunate to get that particular call. The ball came off the glass so hard that Relford was a bit off balance, and thus the foul. His third.
That's 3 for him, and Bill Frieder's going to make a substitution with guard Thompson, primarily for ball handling. He's looking for Lou Henson to go to that full court press. Jobert goes over. to talk about who's taking it out of bounds, who's bringing it up the floor.
We'll see the shuttle system so many coaches are using now. Ball handlers when you have it at the defensive end, then the big men when you get it at the offensive end. Norman has 14. He's only, well, he's a 73% free throw shooter, but he's the best field goal shooter on the team at almost that level, 65%. And he's right on his season's average, which leads the Illinois team. 57-53, 55 seconds remaining. Henderson and guard Thompson. Jobert trying to trap him. Douglas almost got up tall enough for a piece of that one. Jobert for Thompson. Thompson, but he was fouled from behind by the ever-busy Bruce Douglas.
Most teams in that situation would try to foul right away and put the guy at the line, but Illinois has such confidence in their ability to make that steal that they let the Michigan team make some passes because they feel they can turn that into a basket. Look at Douglas again, reaches in there to knock the ball away, but gets called for that foul. Trying to decide if that's the 7th team foul or not to put Michigan at the line for the 1-on-1, and they have decided that.
Guard Thompson's a 6'1" junior out of Grand Rapids, an all-stater at East High School there. 70% free throw shooter. His first point of the night. He averages 4. They gave him the Hustler Award last year here. He has 2, and thus leaves, just like the shuttle we talked about earlier, as the big man Richard Relford is back in. So Thompson did his job at the offensive end. 6-point spread, 35 seconds remaining. Down baseline, up strong. Norman trying to draw the foul. Got his own rebound and scores. He has 17. Illinois wants a timeout. And they get it with 26 seconds remaining. So we'll take a local timeout for you here. In the last 30 seconds of this one, the two ball clubs picked by the coaches and the media to finish at the top of the Big Ten this year. It hasn't been the most artistic game we've seen, but it's been very intense and still up for grabs if Michigan makes some mistakes down the stretch here.
Illinois was down 20 in that first half, and they've cut that lead to 4.
Down by 14 at intermission. They get it in for guard Thompson. Grant in between Norman and Blackwell, clearing the timeline and reaching in. Illinois doing what it has to do with Norman, Ken Norman, on the foul. Unless it was on Welch. And that is number 5 on Anthony Welch. So he fouls out with 6 points and 18 seconds remaining. Came in averaging 12. And they really did a good job of shutting him down tonight.
2 guys that brought Illinois back in the ball game in the second half. Norman has 11 second half points, as well as Blackwell. So Blackwell coming in off the guard, having to start, gets 11, and then Norman, not a starter in today's ball game. Jobert at the line now. Impressive stats against Illinois last year.
And 7 for tonight. Missing the free throw. Great diving save by Blackwell. Here's Douglas underneath. Yes, for Norman. Timeout. What a play by Blackwell. That ball was not bouncing up, folks. It was falling straight to the floor, and with a headlong dive, he saved it. Unbelievable defensive play. 19 for Norman.
Henderson and Tarpley are the 2 big men.
Important game early in the season, boiling down to the last 10 seconds. Across the baseline, Jobert, steal, we're tied! Winners took it away and Douglas scored. 5 seconds remaining. One more shot. Henderson at the buzzer! Yeah! Michigan at the closing buzzer wins it 61-59 on the jumper by Robert Henderson. Our Budweiser players of the game here tonight. First of all, for the visiting Fighting Illini of Illinois, It was Bruce Douglas, 14 points tonight, and he played some great defense. He had 7 steals and better than 50% shooting from the field. And for the University of Michigan, now 15-0 on the year, it was Richard Relford, the 6'6 senior, over the 1,000-point career mark, the 22nd Wolverine player to do so. And John Laskowski, those are our Budweiser players of the game. You said it earlier, the great teams, even when they have an off night, still find a way to beat you.
And that's the real key. Henderson, a player off the bench, is only 2 points in the second half. It wins the ball game. Illinois played well today, though. You got to watch for them in the Big Ten.
They definitely are a top 20 team. And now Michigan 15-0 on the year, and they are number 2 in the nation. We'll see them again Saturday here as they take on Purdue as we continue our coverage of the Big Ten on Lorimar. Big Ten basketball.